Great, great, great. Okay, so we are recording. Uh, we're going to be interviewing Andrew and Sean from the Midwest to be the HMB Midwestern region representatives. To start out with, how about you guys just tell us a little bit about yourselves? You know, who you are, where you're from, what you like, how you got in the sport, how long you've been in, anything notable you've done in the sport. Um, so how about we start with Sean?
Hello, everybody. I'm Sean Fabian out of Detroit Fight Club. We are the ones that the name was around about the Arnold Sports Festival. Sadly, we saw the demise of that pretty quickly. Thank you, COVID. A little bit about myself is I've been doing the sport for about 2 years under the mentorship of Rich Ellswick, and he's shown me the ropes quite a bit, all the way around from local Renaissance fairs all the way down to Dragon Con, which is where my first real noted fight was. And it was my first ever time competing in duels, pro fights, and melees, to where big guy's not my friend, but I'm a little guy. On top of that, thing I really love about this community is, well, the case in point is when my ACL got torn at Autumn Assault last year, and how quickly this community came together, and just everybody has your back. You got other communities that you probably have been a part of where there's a little thing, there's something one-off, and I haven't found a one-off in 2 years with this community. Things I don't like is, when you buy something and authenticity tells you no. I think everybody can relate to that. But yeah, I look forward to working with everybody, regardless of how any outcome goes. And we're going to have ourselves a great meeting here with Andrew, Brad, and Christine.
All right. Andrew, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. So I found out about Steel Combat about 6 weeks before the Baton that was in Serbia. And I connected with Brad Shivey, started working with him. Like I said, about 6 weeks later, I ended up in Serbia squiring for him and 2 other nights. So that was a hell of a learning curve. Had a lot of fun with it, met a lot of great people, met a couple of not so great people. Overall, it was a great experience. It was definitely enough to get me hooked. I'm semi-retired, so I feel like I've got the resources to get a lot more done with this board than a lot of other people do, because a lot of people are stuck with, normal real jobs. I was lucky enough to get away from that for quite a bit. Do a lot of Highland games, strongman, powerlifting comps, fun stuff like that. And I'm here to help out in whatever ways I can.
Excellent. All right.
I like it.
Yeah, strongman and Highland games was something I did as well before. So it was anybody who likes to be big, strong, and drinking tends to like this sport.
Perfect.
All right. So first question, you guys are going to probably have a lot of the same ideas as each other. You guys are probably going to have a lot of the same answers over and over and over again, because, you guys are the ones that are volunteering for a position, and like minds tend to think alike in like what's good for the sport, right? So don't worry about that. Just answer however you feel. So first question is, you have a magic wand. You can wave it over any part of the sport. What would you fix? What is something that you would change or fix or add to these sports? Andrew, we'll start with you.
For me, I feel like that would be more exposure so that we can develop a deeper breadth of team and a competitor. I think that's one thing that we definitely clubs.
So you're talking media, social media, videos, TV.
Yeah. Anything and everything that we can do to get a bigger presence out there. Even smaller steps, as much as seeing more people recruit their friends to get them involved in various levels, whether it's a support member, somebody that's just interested in the hobby side, or a balls out competitor.
All right. Sean.
All right. I put a lot of thought into this question here. I really like this one, actually. Oh, something that I would do is very similar to what Andrew would do. It is, but it's soft kit training. I would like to do a lot more soft kit training and then reward the crowd in a way of having, crowd favorite type things, suit up. And this is just for like local events type thing, focus on that and get it out there, a lot like the Arnold Sports Festival type thing. Going in something like that is you can attract people with different crowds, and people in different sports as well. Going into, you got a rugby player who their heart's really in rugby, but they want to do this for the workout and the violence. Why not? But Soft Kid also gives them that opportunity to not have that extra weight on their body, that extra stress that they're already doing in their daily sport, and get that exposure out. And maybe they know a friend that can actually bring into it at the same time. And of course, I realize that the exploration of that will have to be, watch out for concussions, signed waivers, the legal stuff. That's neither here nor there. Just right here, as I agree with Andrew, I would like exposure.
All right. So you guys are applying for a regional position. You will have constituents from your area, the Midwest, to answer to and, represent them as a whole. So what does representing the region mean to you, and why are you nominating yourself for this position? Sean, you're already on screen, so we'll start with you.
Okay. What it means to me about representing the region is having that communication in between each individual club, going into the region to maybe even partnering with another region, having that in between the go-to to where those clubs can focus on their training and doing what they have to do, while we go through and talk with on the board to go through and really analyze what that means and what we can do to get that the most exposure, and at the same time really keep your eyes open for to go into the BOD selection process. You can really watch and sit there and be like, all right, what region does this area offer? What region does this area offer? Or maybe it's just coming on in and you got multiple great fighters in one region, which I think that every region has multiple great fighters.
All right. Andrew, I'm going to have you go next, and then I think Robert Bowman is Jacob Bowman. But yeah, Andrew, go ahead and answer the question, and then I'll circle back around and see if this is him and get him in.
Okay. So one of the things that made me want to go ahead and throw my information out there, I'm new to the sport, new to the culture, and I didn't see anybody else stepping up at the time. So I figured I didn't want our region developing without a voice. And then a couple of other guys chimed in after. So that was cool that we got some more candidates to choose from. The biggest thing that kind of drove me to do it was that it sounded like the kind of position that I've held before. And I'm pretty good at helping develop clubs and sports teams and competition teams. And this all kind of falls in that general direction. And since I'm going to be very heavily focused on helping Brad Shivey resurrect the company, the Black Swan, it folds in with what I'm going to do anyway. So why not do it on a full regional basis too?
All right. Mr. Bowman, you are muted. I can't unmute you. So if that's you, go ahead and unmute yourself. Nope, he's gone.
Ooh, ouch.
All right. Well, we shall continue. All right. Oh no, what did I do? I did the same. Okay. All right. Do you have any professional question? We know not everybody has professional connections, but if you do, what are some of those professional connections? Whether that be organizations, fundraisers, potential sponsors, things like that you'd be bringing to the table with your affiliation. Andrew, we'll start with you.
I've done this for quite a few different gyms. One of the things that I do as a hobby is I help gyms build up their strongman and their Highland Games groups. So I'm used to contacting our people and trying to get local and regional donors and sponsors. I don't think there's a year that's gone by that I haven't put together about 30 shirts for competitions and sell logos for the shirts and crap like that. So I've already got a pretty extensive network of some people that would want to do it. And I've already been contacted by the local Highland Games Association for the Midwest about putting up some demos at some of their bigger games. But obviously the COVID issue kind of crapped on all that. So we'll go with that where we can.
All right, Sean, I'll have you answer, and then I will see if Mr. Bowman is ready and good to go. But yeah, go ahead, Sean. What do you bring to the table, sponsor or company-wise, affiliation?
Sponsored company-wise, I am a huge Renaissance nerd, and I was actually contacted by, I believe, an ACL team to bring any other steel fighters that we have down in October to the Ohio Renaissance. I'm very involved with the Renaissance community and their rescue program, which helps them be able to fundraise, going out, get their exposure. And then on top of that, very entry level exposure, but at the same time, we are a very growing sport. A lot of people that you go around and ask, well, what is that? What do you do? It's like, well, we all got a little mental problems and like to beat each other with weapons. It's a fun time, but it's mainly just in that circuit. I keep getting hits every day on Instagram and Facebook of these people who see what we do in the little tip videos that we have from Detroit Fight Club and from my own personal social medias. So that's very entry level, but they exist.
All right. And Mr. Bowman, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry about that. I had a little bit of internet issues.
All right. So just to catch you up real quick, I'm going to combine a few questions.
Okay.
Just introduce yourself. What the hell is going on here? Yeah, just go ahead and introduce yourself, who you are, how long you've been in the sport, what you've been doing, what you've done in the sport, why you're nominating yourself for this position, and what you're bringing to the table affiliation-wise.
Okay. So for those that do not know me, I am Robert Jacob Bowman, or Jacob for anybody who knows me. I have been in this sport for about going on 2 years now. I started out going, competing with the Louisville team, and ended up. I'm sorry.
Nope, that was my dog. Sorry, mailman.
And I ended up, starting up the Cincinnati Barbarians. I've been their team captain for a little bit over a year now. We're up to 12 people strong, and we keep on growing. We are currently in the process of, COVID permitted, getting our Renfest set up. We are we're getting a 9-weekend tournament set up for them, and a couple other things here and there. Let me think a little bit about. So one of the reasons I'm running for this position is ever since I've started, I've been very devoted to this sport. A lot of the things I do to try and spread what this sport is about, get new people in it. I try and bring a lot of. I'm my personal goal is to spread this out as much as I can. For the past, year and a half, I've opened a gym for steel fighting. Within my community, I'm setting up little events. I'm trying to get people exposed to the idea of it. And that's just been my goal for the past year. And I'd like to continue doing that with the entire region. I'd like to open up new clubs. I'd like to get more people interested, and turn this into something, where the Midwest has become, a big name for a lot of people.
All right, great.
A lot of steel fighters here, and, I'd like to expand that for them.
Great. Well, we're glad we finally got you with us. All right, so next question will be for all three of you. Regarding the Battle of the Nations proposal on how team selection will be done, Obviously, we want you guys to read through that because one of you is going to get elected to the board. Whoever gets elected to the board will be voting on this and to finalize it or having their say so and change on it. So the first question regarding the Battle of the Nation selection process is, what is something you do not like and you would change of that selection process? Andrew, we will start with you.
I didn't really notice anything that jumped out at me that I didn't like. I know that there were 2 options listed, and they're actually quite similar. The underlying theme that I noticed with both is trying to get people out of their region and to mix with other regions. And I think that's very important if we're going to have to come together to fight other countries' national teams. So yeah, I didn't really see anything that I disliked about it at all. I like the concept of it.
All right. Mr. Sean, you'll be next.
I have to agree with Andrew on that, especially with option. I'm sorry, it's not option B, but all the way at the bottom with note 1 where it says all Bohurt League approved events anywhere in the world. And then below that, all Bohurt League approved events anywhere in North America. I think that's really great. Could you hear me without the microphone?
Yep, we got you.
Oh, outstanding. I think that's really important because not everybody's going to be able to get to go to Dynamo Cup, but those who get to go to something like that should be recognized for it. You know, they shouldn't just have to be in North America. Or if we do, and I saw it was labeled also higher up about the tournament down in Mexico, it sounds like, I believe.
Yeah.
The Day of the Dead. Yeah, all of it should be recognized. I agree with it on a global standpoint, absolutely. Especially those, I know we have a couple over that we pulled, Detroit Club USA Team 3. We had Nate Maxfield and Daniel Murphy. Both those gentlemen, as I'm aware of, are most of the time not in the U.S. At least that's the way it read to me. It was all through text.
They're both Marines, and Nate's currently in Germany right now.
Fellow jarheads.
Oh, now I really like you.
Ooh, Simplified Kill. Whole thing is, I think that's just great. If you have your kit and you have the opportunity, it should be recognized on a global standpoint. So I guess I just kind of answered the what you like as opposed to what you don't like. I don't really don't like, but I do like the variety.
All right. And Robert, you gonna unmute?
Along with them, I think it's pretty thought out process. The only thing I would actually like to add to it is, their selection process. Instead of, just going to any 2 events, maybe having, maybe a tournament style or something along the lines of that. I always kind of liked, I'm a little bit of martial arts fan, and I always, like the fact of going to, you got your local tournaments, you go to your regional and then your nationals. And I just always, I think that'd be something nice for fighters to be able to do, to, have that stepping stones to see where they compete at. And that's something I would like to add, is that kind of tournament selection.
All right. Well, that we'll save the time, and because the next question is essentially, what part of the proposal is your favorite part of the proposal? What do you think one of the strongest attributes are? If any of you guys feel like you didn't answer that in your last question, just let me know and you can do your spiel now. If there's anything you overly liked.
I did like the taking in consideration the COVID, especially the note at the bottom on option A. Potential competitors required a minimum of 2, 1 out of the area, 1 within your area, especially for the COVID. It's a very, very thought out process with that to be like, okay, for this year only, guys, are we doing calendar year or fiscal year type thing, to where it's okay, at the calendar year, we're going to be going through and you have to hit 2 now, guys. You got to hit 1 more type thing.
Yeah, the COVID thing has really kind of thrown a wrench in all of our plans, especially tournament-wise and event-wise. So that is something that we are taking into consideration. And once again, once any of you guys have made it onto the board, when we come back around to a full season, there are many other suggestions, many other ways of doing this. Seasons, statistics, tournament style. There's all those things can come down. You guys will have a say in that. So that is not a one and done. This is what we're bringing you guys in for. All right. Now, these two questions are going to be kind of similar, except I want them to be from different perspectives, right? You guys are going to be representatives. You are going to be representing fighters from your region, many of whom know you, many of whom don't. And so talk to your contingency with this. Not contingent. Talk to your constituents. That's the right word. Talk to your constituents as a fighter, right? We're just fighters in your area that you will be representing. What do you bring? What value do you bring to the fighter, the average fighter in your area, and why should that person be voting for you? Because what value are they going to get out of your representation? Andrew, we will start with you.
I think one of the things that I bring to the table is my experience with team building. And if you're not in this for the teams, if you're just interested in the pro fights, that's great, but you're still going to end up being part of the USA team when we go over there. So I think that applies to all of us.
All right. Sean, go ahead.
Something I bring to the table and to local fighters and even regional fighters especially is I take a lot of notes. So if you give me a question, it's going to be written down and I'll review that whole thing and go on through and find exactly the answer that you need, because I'm not going to know everything, but I will have the resources that will get me the answer that you need to make yourself a better fighter, better tips on how to hit harder, how to move. We can link all that. Or when it comes down to it, buying armor. Great spots to buy armor, authenticity. With Detroit Fight Club, we got a couple of guys that are pretty spot on with their authenticity and being like, whoa, don't buy that real quick. Wait a minute, the rules changed on shield curvature. Watch out, So a lot of things like that is in my immediate disposal. Just one text message away, I could finally get you the answer that you're looking for at a pretty quick rate.
And Mr. Robert.
For me, I think it's my flexibility. I've had, ever since I've started, I've done a lot of this on my own. I've been able to adapt to each situation and all that. And that goes with anybody new coming in. I will be able to help teach them what they need to know, show them how we need to do certain things. Excuse me. I've got a bunch of resources at my fingertips. I've got people, for authenticity, how to train, how to expand yourself, what you need to do to kind of grow your fan base. A lot of this stuff I've had to do on my own, so I can pull from my personal experience, and now I'd be able to help other people with that.
All right. Next question is the same kind of thing, except this time, talk to the board. You're going to be working with, Christine, myself. Working with Desha and many others on the BOD, and Jeff Galley, president. So now talk to us. What do you bring to the organization? What do you bring to the overall table with your representation if you are selected for this position? What value are you bringing, specifically to the overall national organization? Andrew, we'll start with you again.
Well, I've got more than 20 years of being on different types of boards, everything from developing youth sports all the way to million-dollar businesses. So when you talk about being a member of a board and what can I bring to the table, it's figuring out how to navigate the channels, what we need to do, how to be a voice for our region and represent our nation as best as possible.
All right. Care to elaborate at all? I know your answers have been kind of short. I don't want to cut you off if you have more to say.
I'm more the quiet type. I'd rather let what I'm doing show for me.
All right. Short and sweet. All right. Mr. Sean, go ahead.
Andrew's making this really tough.
Sorry, buddy.
Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry at all. I like competition. That's nice. And that's something else I'll bring to the board as well. Yeah, I'm a competitor off the field as well as I am on the field. So things that I could bring are concerns of the area and ideas how to evolve those. They might be entry level, but you know what? Sometimes you can't always do a backflip, freaking battle rope, barbell over the head type thing. You know, you just got to go back to the basics, like a strongman, like a Highland game. You know, before you can do before you can do a caber toss, you got to break it down. You got to move on through. You can't just jump right into doing snatches and clean and jerks. You just got to break it down. All right, start with the deadlift, nice and easy. Not really. It's actually pretty complicated for a lot of people. Anyway, rambling. I apologize. So the thing that I would do is give me a task. I'm jumping right in. If you don't give me a task, I'm going to make one.
All right. And Robert, finish us off.
So I am aware that I am pretty young, but I'd like to think that I can bring a lot of new ideas to this board. Like I said before, I've had to do a lot of these things on my own. I've got experience running teams in the past, not just for nonprofits, but I do this for work as well. So everything I do, I have to make up on my own, and you know they're relatively all pretty successful. And I'd like to think, no matter where I go, I always put my hardest work into it. So, yeah.
All right. Easy enough. All right. So, if you've seen our other interviews, this is not just Sean playing the moderator, but in the Marine Corps, we have a God Corps country, which is supposed to sound like to normal people a odd set of priorities, that we are Marines before we are Americans. So in that similar attitude of, you know, this, that, or the other thing on your priorities, you know, we have the overall sport that we know of. That is every league, doesn't matter, IMCF, HMB, Battle of the Nations, Dynamo, Kinnig, whatever, you know, ACS, ACW, AMCF. So there's the overall sport. There's the HMBIA specifically, just that organization. And then you obviously have your local organizations, your local clubs, your local teams that you are helping grow domestically. Where would you place your priorities? It doesn't matter who, as long as the sport's good? You have a sentimental value just to HMB, and you really want that specific thing to grow? Are you really big in your local area, and that's sort of your biggest priority is the guys physically around you? So, what is your priorities? Like, there's not a right or wrong answer. Just to give people kind of an idea of where you're at mentally. Andrew, once again, we'll start you off there.
Okay. For me, this is a pretty simple question. I'm in the process of, like I said, helping Brad resurrect a club that's kind of fell to the wayside a little bit lately. The company, the Black Swan, we're going to come back strong. So I've got a bigger idea of focusing on a local branch. I know in the other interviews that the trend was more towards like the bigger groups. I'm the opposite direction, man. I'm all about focusing local because I feel like that's where I can make the biggest impact. If I can help to build my local impact the biggest I can, then we have more to offer other teams within our region. And then we can offer more to the nation, and then we can go out and put it on some of these other teams from Europe. So yeah, local first and work my way up from there for priorities.
And where would you put next HMB or the overall sport?
I would say, since I'm pretty new to this and my only exposure really is to HMB, that would definitely be the second tier. But I do think that it's important to branch out with some of these other groups. Like that's one of the other fractionings that I've seen in the US. We have all these little groups, and this all happened before I was involved. So I don't know that much about what went down with who and how it split. I just want to see us all get together and start putting swords in heads and moving forward.
All right. No, actually, it's actually quite a relief to not get the same answer 4 days in a row. So, not a problem for me. All right, Mr. Sean, you're up next.
So a lot like the magic wand question, this one took a lot for me, not just because I'm a jarhead and there's nothing up here, but just because, you know, HMB to me would be my top priority because I view them a lot like USAPL, United States of America Powerlifting. They're one of the most strict organizations for the lifts that I've encountered. I'm sure there's more. There's always a better one. There's always bigger fish. But HMB is a lot like that for me because I see a lot of these other clubs where I don't know if it's just their practices or what it is. I don't really pay attention to them as much as I do HMB because the authenticity and all that. I know I want to go to Baden. I know I want to fight. I know I want to represent. I want to wear the American flag. It's a great day. Next would be the sport because with so many different sections of it, you have to just broadcast the whole thing. If you can bring the camaraderie together, a lot like Andrew was saying, if we got ACL guys, with their whole thing that happened last year, I'm not even going to get into that. Then HMB bringing together, guys coming over going, I still want to do this sport, don't want to sell my armor. Can we join in? Yes, absolutely. So the sport grows, everybody has somewhere to go, and we're not everybody's cup of tea. If you don't want to be so strict, there's SCA. If you don't want that, well, there's HEMA. If you want to get into the martial arts aspect of it. And then that also, for me, goes into the club because then you can build different sections of the club from there. So HMB, sport, then club for me.
All right. And Mr. Robert. Hey, bud, we're not hearing you.
Yep.
Try again.
Hello.
There you go.
All right, cool. I'll have to agree with Andrew on this. I'm kind of in the position where I put my priorities closest to home. I kind of go along with team region steel fighting, and the reason for that, a lot of what I do for my team. I do to help support my fellow fighters and anybody close to me, because without them, I wouldn't really be where I'm at today. And that goes for a lot of people. A lot of the people, not just within my area, but within Ohio, Indiana, Chicago. I do. Whenever I hear about an event close by, they're my first priority. I drop everything and go to them because they're trying to expand themselves. They're trying to push themselves, and who am I to say, I'm not going to go help them? Because for a lot of us know, the Midwest is small. We're still growing. We're still, our teams are all scattered. We got, at least, I think the closest team to us within the Midwest is 5 hours. So it's always my biggest support to go out and support my other Midwestern teams. And then I do my third is steel fighting as a whole. I'm not, I don't care which league you come from, what you're trying to do. My team actually tries to compete in HMB and the ACS, IMCF. We try and do it all because we can. We like to, get out and meet new people. I've met a lot of people in ACS and the HMB that I would have never met before. And I want to keep that up. I want to keep, expanding out to these new groups, making more connections, and getting to know new people. So.
All right. So, this is, of course, an election or a competition, and not everybody can win. So somebody's got to lose. If in the event you are not selected for the board position, are you still willing to volunteer Are you still willing to be a part of the organization? And if so, what specific aspect would you bring to the board that you would volunteer in? We've got people going over revamping our social media, websites, YouTube, fixing, how we communicate each other off Facebook, trying to get Discords and things like that. Branding, merchandising. There's all kinds of different tasks that we're going to be coming out with later on. Just what's a specific area that is sort of your niche that you would volunteer your services to us should you not be elected to this position, if any? Andrew, once again, back to you.
Well, in bucking the trend again, I'm going to say probably not. If I don't get elected, I'm going to spend a little bit more time in the gym training so that I can put whoever's ass in the dirt that beat me. Jokes aside, though, no, of course I'd be willing to help out. What I can bring to the table as far as that goes, I am an idiot with technology, so I'm of no use there. Where I can help is merchandise, branding, team club building, and business infrastructure. I've got quite a bit of experience in those areas.
All right. Excellent. You had me excited there. I was like, oh, sweet. He's not going to he's going to change it up. All right, Sean.
You had me going. I just completely broke down into a laughter. I had to hold it in there. Almost muted my mic. Thanks, Andrew. All right. Well, would I be interested in still being a part of it? You can slide into my DMs and find out. But at the same time, yes. I mean, there's marshaling. I would love to jump in on that. Have always had this weird feeling about marshaling, and I don't know. There's just something about being a person with a yellow flag and telling someone no in a full suit of armor that just appeals to me. And on top of that, just I can make it a show. I mean, you go out there and have an event. You tell me you want me to do something at the event. I'll hoot and holler at somebody to sell them drinks. I'll get on the microphone. It doesn't matter. Anything like that. That's pretty much where I'm at. I'm a performer by just nature. I'll still be out there and talking trash to whoever I can. Like when I was talking to Skalgrims at Autumn Assault, I just sat there on the rail and kept telling him to punch me in the face, though I clearly could have just ran off and did something else. I just like to give the show. I enjoy helping out any way I can. Like I said before, if you give me a task, I'll do it.
Excellent. And Mr. Robert.
Even if I don't win, just like the other two said, I'd be happy to help anywhere I can. That's what I've been doing for, the longest time. If you want to put me in a different position, if I just need to continue doing what I am now, I'm happy to do whatever I need to be. I'd love to support whoever is in the position, just as long as we can, continue expanding our community and all that.
All right. So next up, I will sit there and ask if Bo or Christine, if either of you guys have a question, now would be the time to throw that up in the chat box if you guys do have a question. If not, that's about it for our prescribed questions. We will close out with just kind of your closing statement. Make your last little pitch to whoever's watching, why they should vote for you, who you are, and make a nice little closing statement. So make that. If they have a question, we'll ask that afterwards. If not, that'll be the end of it. Andrew, go ahead and take us home.
Well, you should clearly vote for me because I'm obviously the best. I might not be the performer that Sean is, but I was here on time and I figured out how to work my internet. And I'm working with a great group of mentors. In fact, Sean is from DFC. That's one of the groups that Brad and I have been working with quite a bit. So I love the guys in the Midwest. And I think that all my experience on boards has definitely left me with the ability to understand that if I'm elected to represent a voice, it's not my voice as much as it is the group of people that I'm working with. So that's why I think that you should be throwing those votes my way.
All right. Sean, go ahead.
All right. Well, elected or not, you can always get a hold of me about working out. You can get a hold of me about hitting or being hit. I'm very good at being hit. Hitting, I can get you to the people that are really good at that. Or if you're in my local area, I'd love to hit you too. I am more than just resilient on my recovery. I am 8 months post-op of an ACL reconstruction. I'm more than just resilient on recovery. I'm resilient on getting us right where everybody will come together and feel the needs of the region. And to top all that off, I will always have food.
All right. And Robert.
I'd like to end on, I'd like everybody to know, my biggest thing is being able to support anybody who does this. I may not be, the most talkative or funny that, my two competitors are, and hats off to you too. I'd love to get to work with you guys a little bit more and all that. But I do want everybody to know, if I am elected, what I do is to work for you guys. It's not just about me. It's about getting our region put together and built up. It's about expanding our community, growing our connections, and being the best that we can be. And I'd love to be able to be a part of that, if I'm in that position or not. So I'll end on that note.
All right. Well, we actually did end up getting a question from Bo. It's actually a fairly decent one, specific to your guys' region. How do you see the best way to integrate the local groups with each other? It was said we have a lot of distance. How do you deal with that? So yeah, you guys are in a big geographical zone spread out. How do you guys, what is your individual strategy for representing each local group and supporting each local group as their representative, should you be? Andrew.
Bo, thanks for throwing that out there. That was definitely a good question. And like mentioned, we have a large geographical area. I think tonight's proof that we all figured out how to use a little bit of technology at least. This was new experience for me. I would rather drive to the different clubs, meet with people in person, work with them, train with them. And I'm lucky enough to have the resources and the time to be able to do that. So that's one thing that I would like to do. If you're a fighter with 2 or 3 people in your club or by yourself, I would like to come out, see what I can do to help you develop your club and grow it in person. Because like I said, I'm not much of a tech guy. So that's my response. Getting together with people. Good things happen when you sit down and talk, and better things happen when you sweat.
I thought he was going to say Drake.
Sean, go ahead.
All right. Bo, I'm taking back that friend request you just sent me, by the way. Just kidding. Great question. Something that has actually been talked about with other members of Detroit Fight Club is how would we do that, especially with the unfortunate COVID strike. And one thing that I think me and one of my other teammates actually came up with was finding a like region. So we got about 5 clubs from Detroit in about a 5-hour radius. If we all met in a centralized city, found a park, and I'm more than willing to go down one weekend, find that park or find that venue, talk with some hotel managers, block out hotels, whatever we got to do. A campsite would be even better, in my opinion. We're all sore from the armor already. Let's make our back sore by sleeping on the ground. It'd be fantastic. So with that, go out there, find out exactly what we got to do, plan it a month or 2 ahead, make the event, say, here it is. We got 5 teams showing up, at least 5 fighters strong each, set up different stations, just like a fit body boot camp, something like that. You got these different stations going through. I got a transportable Pell I just made downstairs. We could bring that puppy down real easy. Everything like that, just to have different stations, go through, everybody get to meet each other at different clubs, and at that same time, sport exposure, especially if we're in like a park, something like that, to go through. And even if we had other leagues of steel fighting that wanted to come around and even see what we're doing, yeah, we could absolutely bridge this language barrier that we have of getting together, knowing who's where, make some friends, have some drinks, eat some food, and kick each other's ass.
Excellent. And Robert.
We
Am I try again? There you go. All right, didn't get that part.
Yeah. Before COVID had actually hit, it was Chicago, a team out of Wisconsin, Indiana, and the Louisville team. We had actually talked about doing a monthly rotation. It had been about one weekend every month, where we would all travel to one of the team's locations. We're all very spread out, so we figured that that's the best way. It keeps it even between all of us. We all get to go and see the different places. We take a weekend every month and just go down and train with each other. And even with everything going on, we've been able to do that a little bit, and we find it. It's been pretty successful so far. But we've just never had the support to do it yet, with the pandemic going on. And what I would like to see is, maybe taking a weekend every month and traveling to somewhere else, getting to meet each other, like Sean said, just one big weekend, getting to, just one central location, whether it be Cincinnati, Chicago, Wisconsin, Detroit, getting to meet everybody, practice with everybody. We've done it before, and it's been very, very supportive, very, I can't even describe the words, find the words to describe it. It's one of those tight-knit things we had going on. So that'd be one thing I'd look to try and get more work into.
All right. So that looks like it's it for the questions. Thank you guys very much. It was excellent meeting you guys. We're very excited to see what happens in your guys' region. Luckily, we still have a couple days left on the vote, so make sure you're telling your guys to get out there and vote. That's how this works. So yeah, very nice to meet you guys, and I look forward to working with one of you. So go ahead.
Thanks, Brad.
Well, in any way, shape, and form.
All right.